Is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to yet another On-Site Insights Live. My name is Leah Nicole Smith. I'm the Vice President of Education and Performance for Satisfax at ApartmentRatings.com. And with me is my counterpart, Jennifer Carter. Say hello, Jennifer.
Hello, everyone. Hope everyone is doing awesome on this Thursday.
Well, Jennifer is our Director of Client Performance. So we're super excited to be with you today. You know, we always like to start out with this city shout out. Want to know where everyone is dialing in from today? Jennifer and I are actually in the Atlanta area. It's a little like gloomy out here, but
Yes, but it's warm.
it is warm. It is. I am feeling a bit under the weather, so I have hunkered down in my room, in my office. I have not seen the outside, and I haven't seen the
Oh.
outdoors in a while. So we have Tampa. Danielle from Tampa is dialing in, is calling in. So welcome. I'm sure the weather's beautiful in Tampa.
Ooh, Portland, Oregon. All right, way up north, or what should I say, west, northwest.
Yeah,
Uh,
Northwest.
yeah, there you go. Welcome, Amanda. Another Amanda in Memphis, Tennessee.
Hey, Amanda. I was
Awesome.
just there. I think that's where I caught this cold. I think that's in Memphis.
Danielle. All right, in the 80-degree weather. Well, I
Ooh, in
wish we
Tampa,
had that.
yes.
Yes.
Lovely. Spring or summer, we'll take it on the way. Brenda is in Denver. Hey there, Brenda. Hope all is well. Brenda's one of our fantastic clients.
She is.
Always
Recognize
joins
that
us for these
name.
sessions.
All right, Olivia from South Carolina. Woohoo! Close state to us over here in Atlanta.
Yeah, we usually kind of have the same weather as South Carolina. It's usually on the little, gloomy side. When we're gloomy, they're gloomy. So,
Gloomy. Yeah, for sure. They have some nice beaches though. Let's see. Kimberly, Fort Worth, Texas, representing the Texas state. Awesome.
nice. Well, we are getting
Love
close
that.
to the top of the hour, so grab your coffee, grab your tea, grab your Theraflu if you're like me, and let's settle in for some really good info. Well, we think it's good. You guys will be the judge of that, but hopefully it'll just give you some light bulb moments here and there. And we are at the top of the hour, so Jennifer, I'm going to let you go ahead and take it away.
Awesome. Well, welcome everyone. Our topic today is the wisdom of the crowd. That is where we're going to go in the next 30 minutes or so. And we are part two of that wisdom of the crowd. Best decision ever. Social proof. We're going to first define that, but we're going to get to social proof to humanize your marketing. How can you use social proof in marketing? All right, and as you may have heard, presenters today is Leah Nicole Smith, our VP of Education and Performance, and then myself, Jennifer Carter, the Director of Client Performance. We are going to give you all of the goods. Speaking of goods, in just 30 minutes. So stick around for 30 minutes, and then we'll have our questions in chat. Our session is going to be recorded, so you can always go back and listen and even share with any other coworkers that you'd like to share with. And then, of course, follow up. We will send out a follow-up with the email with slides in the recording. And, of course, register for upcoming sessions. We have one more of our three-part series coming up, so be sure to share that with your coworkers as well. And, of course, we love our chat box, so that is open for questions and comments. So if you have anything as we go through today, jot those in, and we will get to those at the end of our 30 minutes. All right. And of course, we always love to thank our sponsors. So that's SphereX. Without them, we would not be able to host these amazing webinars for you all for free. So thank you to them for sponsoring us today. All right.
All right, so when we're talking about social proof, this is actually It's a traditional marketing concept, if you will, but for our industry, it's rather new. Social proof really is about when someone is faced with making a decision, and this is not like what am I, what shoe should I wear, but a big decision, something that maybe is a little bit more difficult, a little bit more involved. They look to the actions of other people that are in that same position or have been in that same position. So let's just take our renters. When renters are looking for a place to stay and they're trying to decide, should I go with, A, B, or C? They look to everyone else around them who has been in a similar position, right, to help sort of point the way. And there's different phases to social proof. For just sort of traditional marketing purposes, these are the six sort of types of social proof. You have experts, you have friends, you have the crowd, you have users, you have certification, and you have celebrities. So, how do we sort of translate that to our world and what we do? Well, social proof produces what's called the halo effect. And this is where you start looking at things or you look at these people in a way that, is causes you or causes the renter to act a certain way. So, for an expert, if an expert was to give an opinion about a product or an opinion about an apartment community, the person who's in that decision making mode might say, you know what? They probably know more than I do. So I should trust what they have to say, or I should take their expert opinion seriously. For their friends, if friends are giving input, if friends are providing that social proof, the consumer is looking at it like, of course, they're not going to steer me wrong. They're looking out for me. We talked last month about the wisdom of the crowd. If everyone is saying the same thing over and over, is it possible that everyone is wrong, when it comes to this opinion? Probably not. And then users, anyone who's up for a big consumer like purchasing kind of decision, they want to hear from people that actually have that product. What has your experience been like? Certification, this is that third party, the good housekeeping seal of approval, or the Yelp certified, business, those kinds of things. They like seeing third parties get involved. JD Powers, those awards that they give for their cars, it elevates the possibility that this is going to be a good decision for them. And then celebrities, if I do this, I could be just like her or him. In our world, not all of these necessarily apply. So you kind of want to look at what renters are telling us. That's what we look at, what renters are telling us. And according to our 2017 Today's Online Renter Study, we asked them, who do you trust? What type of sources do you trust the most? Number one, not surprising, 77.1% trust their friends, family, coworkers. I don't think there's anyone on this webinar right now that's surprised by that information, right? Number two, and this might be a couple of light bulbs going off over there. Number two, and a very close number two, online ratings and reviews, 70.6%. So when we're looking at the six types of social proof, we have users, we have experts, we have friends, and we have crowd, just sitting here out of these two most trusted sources. So we know that these things are really important to renters who are in that decision making process. When we're looking at what's on the other side of that scale, what they probably trust least, this is what we're finding. The website, your website, 35.8%. This is actually number three. And if we looked at number two, ratings and reviews, it's double. They trust ratings and reviews double, as much as your website for the company. Advertisement, 11.7%. Social networking, 9.0%. And celebrity endorsement, 1.2%. So bottom line is, even though there are six different phases or six different types to social proof, not all of them are going to work for us because we have a certain type of consumer looking for a certain type of product, right? And this is one of those purchasing decisions that can't necessarily be swayed by celebrities can't necessarily be swayed by the message that we want to portray, the message that we're in control of. So they're really looking for that organic type of social proof. They're looking for experts, friends, the crowd, users, and certification. So we're going to take these 5 different phases of social proof. We're going to define them, talk about what it is, how you can make the most of it, and how you can put that human element, of these different phases into your marketing efforts going forward.
So our five categories or groups, as Leah mentioned, is those experts, the users, the crowd, friends, and that certification from that third party.
So starting out with experts, for us, for apartment ratings, renters are defining experts as verified residents. These are people that they know have had a recent experience at the community. They've been verified, vetted, if you will. They have more credibility in the eyes of the people who are doing this research, who are looking for apartment homes. And 48% of the visitors we surveyed to apartment ratings say that they are looking for reviews that are within the last 6 months. So you may have a great online presence. It might be a great would recommend score, might have, 5.0 reviews. But if those reviews are from 2014, 2015, your renter, those who are looking at the crowd, or I'm sorry, looking at the experts, they want to see current residents talking about their experience.
Absolutely. And so with those experts out there, how can we take those experts and use them for marketing? So seek some residents to leave reviews through videos. If there's ways that you can do videos and have them leave reviews, that's going to share and show the renter that they're experts, that they've lived at your community. Respond to expert reviews authentically. We've talked a little bit about this in the past, but when you can respond as the community or the manager to that expert and maybe thank them for their expert opinion or their review, I think it becomes a little bit more credibility with the future renter that's seeing that review from that expert. And then really make sure the community information is accurate on, say, apartment ratings. And I think that becomes important where future renters are seeking the expert's opinion and want that to almost match what the information is provided for that listing or on apartment ratings, or that information that's listed on apartment ratings. So just a few things we can do to incorporate and interact even with the experts that are leaving their reviews on those platforms.
Yeah, and I think the thing about an expert, and this can kind of even help you all in terms of soliciting reviews, getting your residents to leave reviews. With us, they go through our Satisfact surveys and then have the opportunity to take our verified resident program survey. And always asking residents, we'd love for you to talk, have put your expert opinion or have your expertise about living at the community. Calling a resident an expert, a community expert, that's something that, oh wow, they want to know what I think, or wow, they think I have a great opinion or a great insight to share. So encouraging your residents to leave their reviews because they are community experts. Who knows more about life at the community than an actual resident at the community? That can be very helpful in you guys securing more online reviews, or just how to ask for those online reviews.
I like that. Community experts.
Yeah,
I like that.
community
Even
experts.
sounds so, I love that.
They all think they're so smart. I mean, for
Yeah.
sure, they know everything. Users. So then we have users. Now, users are the ones that do have some type of firsthand experience at the community, right? Only thing about the users is that because there's not a way to verify that this person actually still lives there. This person isn't, someone who lives across the street that's just leaving a review about the community. This is where, your readers, your renters are kind of ranking what's most important. Verified resident reviews are number one most important. After that, they place more credibility in the reviews that are being left by prospective residents, those who have actually come out and toured the community, because the review itself always speaks to the actual tour. Hey, I went out there last week. I met with the leasing associate. I thought the apartments looked great. I'm not sure if I'm going to rent or not, but I really enjoyed, the visit. I'm just waiting to see if an apartment's available. That's a firsthand account. That's someone who has actually, done the job that the renter is going to be doing if they're going to, gone through that process. So you want to encourage your prospects to post reviews. You can do that by including your URL to apartment ratings in your follow-up email. These tours always go better than worse. You always have better tours than worse tours. You have those great rapport building moments. You have those moments where you connect with your prospect. They seem to enjoy the apartment. If they don't lease right then and there and you still feel good like you have a shot, talk to them about leaving a review. If they've even put in an application, they decided this is the place for them, that's a perfect moment to ask them to leave a review, because you know that their review is going to include, I just put in an application, or I've decided to lease here. What more social proof in terms of a user's experience that is, that can go over well with a renter?
Yeah, I think that's great because I think as you said, Leah, prospects, future renters are of course prospects as well, and so seeing the experience from others where they may also encounter the same experience is that social proof of I'll maybe get that same experience when I go and tour out that community. So marketing with users, we can look at ways to have your prospects check in on social media with a review, share their experience maybe when they get back and sitting down in your on your couch, have them leave a review on apartment ratings as a prospect. And again, even in social world, you can have them check in because then their friends see that they check in as well. But again, share those, encourage prospects to share their experience and on apartment ratings or wherever that site is. Showcase your users, prospects, and residents' reviews throughout the community. This is great too, as you have prospects touring, they're seeing whether that's in the model home or throughout the community amenities of a plaque or a frame of current renters and prospects experience, and sharing that information with them. So they're seeing that no matter where they are in the community. And then automate follow-up with great prospects. And I think, Leah, you kind of touched on that already, to ask them to leave a review when they've placed in an application or once they're approved, or just throughout their process of coming to lease with you.
Yeah, I guess the approval will probably be a better stage now that I think about it instead of someone, I put in an application, then 2 days later they get declined and then I hate this place. Yeah. So probably after they get approved, everyone. So yeah, I digress on that one.
No,
Um,
that's a good one though.
I've actually seen in a couple of models, and this is in my previous history. For our Satisfact surveys, for example, we asked the survey takers, would you be willing to allow the office to use your comments for marketing? For those that say yes, I have seen them like scroll the comments on like a digital picture frame, or even like the monitor in the apartment, like the model. Having like the comments just flashing up on that TV screen or flashing up in your clubhouse with, L. Smith. Doesn't have to identify who the resident is or their apartment home, but just, if someone is giving you permission to reuse positive comments, reuse those positive comments. The more that those renters, those prospects see actual words, social proof from users, it's going to help. It's going to help point them towards the direction that they should go down, which is hopefully selecting your community. So we look at the crowd. We talked about this yesterday, or excuse me, last month, about the crowd. And the crowd is that collective echo. Could all these people be wrong, or could all these people possibly be right? Well, the crowd is speaking in volumes on your apartment ratings breakdown. This is the crowd that we're talking about. Renters are looking for consistency. And if you look at these two properties, these are two properties in the Atlanta area. I just grabbed, search for Atlanta since I'm here. They're right in line with each other. 4.5, 4.4 is the overall score. Everything is looking pretty good aside from that one community at the bottom with the noise. Now, if I were a prospect, if I were a renter and I noticed that the noise is such a standout, it could be much lower. But in comparison, I'm going with the crowd. The crowd seems much more consistent and stable with the community at the top. So you don't want that one red flag. You don't want that one sticking point to possibly take you out of the running overall, because you might have a renter who is sensitive to that certain area. Maybe it's maintenance, maybe it's noise. So the goal really is to be as consistent as possible. Get your crowd to repeat the same thing over and over in a consistent way, and then you can turn that crowd into a marketing machine for you.
Absolutely. So, and I think, as you said, being consistent, also being consistent with your reviews, evenly distributed across multiple platforms. So, apartment ratings being, of course, making sure you have, a good, consistent view of your community there, as well as creating the same echo on other platforms. That way, there's consistency, and the crowd is all talking the same language, so to say, when a renter is coming to view your community. And then create that fear of missing out. So you may do that through email, text, or calls, but that's something like, we've had 15 tours in the last week for this last one bedroom. We would love for you to have it. That means the crowd is all looking for the same one, and maybe creating that fear of, I need to grab that apartment home before somebody else does. Might be a good way to use the crowd's voice in helping you, close on that apartment home.
Yeah, and if you have like a great resident event, create a hashtag for that specific event. Ask your residents to talk it up, post videos, use the hashtag, and then translate or tell your prospects, hey, go on our social media page and check out hashtag, whatever the event is. You won't believe, what our residents, had to say about our holiday party or our pool party or whatever it is. And by searching that specific hashtag, and they see all these different people, different residents at your community talking about the exact same event, those are the kind of echoes that you want to build over and over again. And it goes back to what Jennifer is saying. That creates that whole fear of missing out. Hey, I don't want to miss out on the next event because look at what everybody else is talking about. If this was their holiday party, I can only imagine what their pool party is going to look like, or I can only imagine, what their next event is going to be like. You never know what that tipping point is for a renter. It may be a great review. It may be the social aspect that you have going on. It may be the fact that you are one of the top rated communities. You never want to sort of overlook any one of these phases, because it could very well be that trigger for a specific renter. So friends, listen to your friends, unless their opinions are just no good. But most friends look out for you, right? Most friends want the best for you. You have those friends that, they definitely want to have an opinion. They do have an opinion, and you have those renters that solely trust these opinions, the opinions of their friends. What's tough is that these friends, unless they live at the community, they don't necessarily have a strong opinion about the community. It's not rooted in an experience, right? But we still can't overlook them. So if you've ever had a tour, and I know there's probably hundreds of you on this call right now that are shaking your head, where you had someone come in by themselves, then two, three, four times they return, and each time they bring a different person with them, or hey, I just want to show my mom, or I just want to show my best friend, can we take a look at that apartment again? It's because they need validation. They need to hear from enough of their friends, enough of their family members, that this is the place for you. You also have some who want to show off a little bit. Kind of like look at where I'm going to be living, or look at my new apartment, even though they haven't decided yet, or they haven't told you they've decided yet. They want to show off a little bit. So what I used to always suggest is, why don't you bring a friend? Bring someone with you. Two pairs of eyes are always better than one. You may forget to ask certain questions. Like, bring your tag team, bring your person with you on your first visit. And should they do that, we get everyone involved, because you never know who the decision maker is going to be. I may be living in the apartment home and paying for the apartment home, but if my mom doesn't like it, I might not get it, because every time she comes over, I'm going to hear about how she doesn't like where I live. So you want to get everyone involved, get the opinions of everybody, get the buy-in from everybody, because once they leave, the renter is going to turn to that person that they trust the most and say, "What do you think?" And what comes after that could be that trigger that we keep talking about.
Absolutely. So, yeah, marketing with friends. So we know resident referrals are always great, but I love kind of, as you were saying, Leah, is bring that other person along. But I think sometimes, at least for me, always remember I got as something of let me go get them, or let me reschedule, or let me come back. But to try to eliminate that as much as possible, but still being able to have them involved. So maybe the new thing is to incorporate a video, or doing some kind of live where they can see and be on tour with you, and be able to come along with that current potential renter or that prospect. That way that you have them in on the moment, and they can also still ask questions. They can see it firsthand, and then they can even discuss that with the prospect maybe after, if they do need to go over anything with that family or friends person that they're looking for that validation with. Uh, I love this one too. Use your social media for residents to share experience. So you really can do some kind of contest, or use your current residents to share about the community through social media. So there's some great ways that you are able to do that to get all of your residents, friends involved. But again, you can use video these days to really help include and share the experience of the community with their friends and family through video.
Yeah, I think a great video campaign, and Jennifer, you and I were talking about this, I think it was even last month, was, you know, my favorite room in my home. Like, what is everybody has that favorite room in their home. And it's just, a quick little 30-second video, you in that room talking about why you love your kitchen so much, or why you love your, bathroom. It might be that garden-sized tub, I don't know. Maybe the patio, the fact that you can sit out there, it's covered or whatnot. Have your residents talk about them, talk about their experience, what they like, and tag a friend. If they're tagging a friend, that friend is looking at that video, and if that friend is looking at that video, who knows, they could be looking at other videos. So using friends in not only in bringing them on a tour, but involving them in where you live, how you live. That envy factor, we talk about this a lot. Envy factor is a big seller. I want to go to parties like that. I want an apartment that looks like that. So when your, friends come up and they now need an apartment home, that social proof has lingered. It has lingered because those seeds have been planted long ago. Never know when that's going to work. And then finally is certification. going back to like JD Powers, good housekeeping seal of approval, these are those independent third party certifications. For us, we have our national Satisfax award winners. We also have our apartment ratings, top rated communities. These are huge. These are big deals because, again, these are certifications by people who don't have a skin in the game. We don't have, there's nothing in it for us to give you this, these certifications. And all of these certifications are based on resident feedback, the experience of those who have lived at your community. So they're not easy. They're not easy to earn at all. No one's just going to walk in and give you, a great survey score every time you ask them to take a survey. So these are really big achievements. And when you do earn one, we want you to make a huge deal out of it. There's so much marketing that you can do by being named either one of these award winners or, getting one of these distinctions. If you've gotten both, definitely you want to make a big deal about it.
Absolutely. And as you said, Leah, I think that it just gives that extra final stamp of approval, if you wish, to that prospect that says, I'm ready to make that decision, but I might need one more thing that says, hey, this community is the community for me. So, if you've got those distinctions, showcase them, put them out there. I would say flaunt them, right? Like
Yes.
you earned it. You earned it. So share them on your community website. I've seen a lot of times it also on social media. So share that out there with your prospects and your renters that that you have earned this, certification, and thankful to your residents because, as Leah said, they're the ones that are helping you earn that certification. Again, showcase those throughout your community. So Leah mentioned, whether that's a mobile picture electronic frame or on your TV, if you have one in the community center, just have those kind of rotating or on a frame on the wall even that showcases those certifications. And then also in your email signature, we do a lot of emailing, I know, every day. And so at the bottom of your signature is another great place to showcase that and get those certifications in front of those prospects that you're communicating with.
Yeah, and you all may have certifications from like your local apartment associations. Maybe you've gotten, the beautification awards. Like, just anytime a third party has recognized you or a third party has given you some kind of a distinction or certification, those are those kind of that kind of social proof. As Jennifer was saying, they might need just one more little, push, one more thing. It's like, okay, I know the residents are happy. I know people are, from what I can tell, people are enjoying life here. I know that my mom thinks it's a good idea for me to move in. You still have those that they want to be, so secure in their decision. And especially now where there's so many other options to choose from. So, we're not at the time anymore where there's just that one community that has that one bedroom. And if you don't get it, somebody else is going to get it. There are a lot of options available to renters nowadays. And some of them, they just want to make sure that they're making the best possible decision. And this certification could be, as Jennifer mentioned, that sort of stamp of approval that they need.
So social proof success, here's some great success examples. And you can see there's consistency throughout all of them. With the Google reviews, you have Yelp reviews as well. And then, of course, on apartment ratings, and then even throughout apartment ratings, you can see that Satisfax score that details out what the residents are reviewing about in regards to the community. So some great ways that you can see across the board how social proof is a success.
Yeah, and we don't typically name names unless it's for a good reason. So 825 Dahlia, this is excellent. This is why we're, showing the community name, we're highlighting them because in all facets, it's very consistent. You see all of these numbers. This is what's going to make a renter feel very secure. Feel like, okay, if I'm hearing, 4.8, 4.4 over here, 4.4 over here. I'm hearing the same thing over and over. It's going back to that wisdom of the crowd, the multiple layers of social proof that are adding up to, okay, I think this is a pretty safe bet because from all these different aspects, people are saying the same thing, or the experience is pretty consistent. And that's where you want to be. If you kind of want to get an idea of where you are, just Google your community name. Just Google it. It's going to show you if you have any Yelp reviews. It's going to take you to your apartment ratings page. It's going to show you all of your Google reviews. If you have any reviews on Facebook, all of that kind of stuff, any social media type of reviews. And you just want to make sure that there's that consistency there, because you do have some that place more credibility in Yelp than Google, or Google than apartment ratings, or apartment ratings than Yelp. You never know, where these people sort of, want to get their main source of information from, but you want that story to be consistent.
All right, so some key takeaways. We have renters really are look to others for validation and guidance regarding big decisions. So, and of course we mentioned this throughout, but renters are going to all facets to make sure that their decision is the right decision. So you want to make sure you're looking at those 5 areas that we focused on in making sure the presence is good. And then the other key takeaway is consistently ask for those authentic reviews and keeping them up to date as often as possible. So those are some great key takeaways to move forward and make sure your presence or your story that's being told out in the world of reviews is good.
Yeah, because remember, they're looking for 6 months. They're looking for reviews within the last 6 months. If your presence right now, if you Google your community name and it looks pretty consistent, but the consistency is based on year-old reviews, you want to, start to mine or farm some new experiences. You want some current information going out there so that your renters, when they're doing their research, they have a clear idea of what life is like today at your community. Not a year ago, not 2 years ago, but if I were to move in here tomorrow, what's more likely than not going to be my experience. That's kind of where, your renters are right now. So we actually have some comments and some questions. We're going to open up the floor. If you guys have any questions at all about marketing or social proof or online ratings and reviews, we're going to get to the ones that are already in here. If there's anything that we talked about that stood out to you in a good way, maybe something that you're going to focus on going forward, we love to know that as well. So the questions and chat box is open. Feel free to fire away.
All right. So there are more coming in. I love it. All right. First one we have, any suggestions or incentives how to get your prospects and residents to send positive reviews?
Yeah, first off, I would take out the word incentive. No, we won't incentivize for reviews at all. I think the big thing is for your current residents, anytime you get a compliment, a thank you, or you catch wind that your resident is happy about something you've done, that's the best opportunity to jump in and ask them to leave a review. I would always recommend that when you ask them, you give them a why, you give them a because. Hey, if you don't mind, we'd love for you to talk about your experience on our apartment ratings page because our corporate office reads those reviews. That was one of the ones that used to work for me all the time, because if residents had a feeling that they had an ear to the corporate office, a direct line to the corporate office, oh, they're sharing their opinion. Going back to, we're looking for community experts to talk about how, what life is like here. That's another because. Would you mind leaving a review? Because we want to get community experts like yourself to talk about why you enjoy living here. Something like that, I think is an easier way with your prospects Something as simple as just including it in your follow-up. If you send a follow-up email, hey, by the way, if you have a minute, we'd love for you to leave a review so that you can give other prospects an idea of what to expect when they come out to tour. Always give a reason why so it doesn't come across as you're helping us out, you're actually helping other people out. Jennifer, do you have
Absolutely.
anything?
No, I think that's fantastic, and I love the prospects because I think that's one thing that might be new to us in this industry. Just as you, Lee, I've been doing this for a while and been kind of in all facets. But I think sometimes we tend to forget about the prospects, and I think it's so important to reach out to those prospects to share that experience. So I think a follow-up email is really great.
Yeah, and our prospect tours always go so well. I mean,
Yeah.
I won't say 100% of the time, but if you had 10 tours last week and you got 5 reviews from 10 of those, just 50%, you're probably going to have, really positive reviews. That's 5 more positive reviews on your apartment ratings page.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. All right, we have a question here from Matt. With the idea of showcasing positive reviews throughout the community, isn't there a risk of an unhappy resident seeing that and getting the idea to post a negative review?
See, I think with an unhappy resident, they don't need any kind of trigger to post a negative review. They're going to post a negative review whether you have a testimonial or not, from a resident. There's not a lot you can do to prevent someone
Mm.
from posting a negative review aside from preventing whatever those problems were to begin with. I think you guys, if you look at it more so like we're going to show what's great about living here, we're going to promote why someone would enjoy living here. Uh, and should a resident, decide, well, I don't know what they're doing because I hate it here, and they post a negative review, that's where your responses come in. That's where the opportunity is to address that. And I mean, we're going to have residents that will post negative reviews. I mean, that's just the nature of the online review game. That's just how it goes. But don't let that deter you from celebrating the things that are going well at your community. There's way more good than bad that's happening.
Absolutely, for sure, for sure. Brenda says she loves video reviews. What platforms accept video reviews? So when I think of video reviews, yes, the first thing is Facebook. I think other avenues where you can showcase, a resident have sharing a testimony could be your website. You could also put them up on a YouTube channel. And there's create some other marketing aspects through the digital world. Also, if you're running your information on a TV, when you've got prospects waiting in your community center, if they're watching a quick 30-second, 1-minute review go across the screen with prospects or current renters or residents, that's another way to showcase those reviews when you've got those prospects waiting in your community center.
Great ideas, great points. So here's another one from Brenton. You mentioned getting reviews on multiple websites. What's the best way to do that? Should you send an email with a list of all the sites they can leave a review? I wouldn't confuse anyone that we're asking to help us out, if you will, because you don't want them to do like a copy paste job on all of these different sites. I would try to track and see where your prospects or those that are getting their information, what are the sites that they're turning to? Is it Google? Is it apartment ratings? Are they looking at your Facebook page? Or are they looking at Yelp? Maybe try to narrow down the ones that, are most used. For us on the Satisfax and apartment ratings, and anyone who takes our verified resident program survey, if they say yes, they would recommend their community to a friend. We have the option to give them the links to your Yelp, Google, and Facebook, I believe it is. Jennifer, correct me
Yes,
if I'm wrong, but I think,
that's right.
yeah, Yelp, Google, and Facebook. So they can just go directly to those sites through our verified resident program survey. But they first have to say they'd recommend you on apartment ratings in order to do that. So we do have some things that we have on our end. But for you, if you're just kind of, creating your own links to send out, I would first try to get a clear understanding of which maybe your top two sites are, and maybe include those two. I wouldn't include like a list of, bunch of different URLs. Maybe, one, maybe this email it's Google, the other one is apartment ratings, or, I don't know. I wouldn't laundry list them. Jennifer, do you have anything to add on that one?
No, I would agree. I think two is a really good one to focus on. Just give them two options. And I think links are great in an email. Makes it easy for the prospect or the renter to just click on that link and go right there. The one thing to keep in mind is, Yelp, you do have to be an avid Yelper, so to say, to review on there. So I think two is great because if maybe one person is a little more savvy or tends to leave more reviews on one than the other, then they'll be able to choose one. So maybe two, like you said, is a good option to send out.
All right, Jennifer, I'm going to let you take Aiden's
Uh,
question.
Yeah, it says, how do you track where your prospects are getting their information from? Just by simply asking how they heard about the community on tour or using digital analytics software, any suggestions? Well, we love data, so anywhere I think that you can find some data is good to kind of move in that direction. I also think asking is a great way, how they heard about the community. A question that may help in finding that information out is just the question that you do ask them. So did you see us on any social sites, or did you have a chance to see our amazing reviews on apartment ratings? And if they say yes, then maybe kind of keep track that that's where your prospects are looking when they are searching for an apartment home.
Yeah, and I think it's important to note, and we've kind of been talking about this for about a couple years or so, is that we now know that your renters are getting information from a lot of different sources. So it's, they may be checking out your reviews, but they also looked at your website. They, have a friend that lives there. You want to know what was the not necessarily just the source, but what was the source that triggered the action? What was the one thing or the couple things that made you pick up the phone or made you say, you know what, I need to go check them out? Because a lot of the sources are just part of that research phase, just kind of getting information. But this is the one thing that made me say, let me really look into them a little bit further. It's getting more complicated than just a drive by, or just there was a banner outside, or I looked at your website and saw you had a two-bedroom available. So asking those questions, not in an investigative kind of way, but just trying to really get to the root source of, what caused them to, really give you a shot.
For sure. We got a question here from John. Is it ever appropriate to offer small promotional incentives to encourage people to leave reviews who might not otherwise leave reviews?
I would
Oh.
never recommend an incentive. We would never
Mhm.
recommend an incentive for reviews. And the reason being is that you're going to have that one resident out there who goes online and says they are paying people for reviews, or they are giving something away for positive reviews. And your guidelines could be, we don't care if it's positive or negative, we just want a review. But it's not going to come across that way, and it won't be communicated that way. By your residents, they're going to say, beware, these are fake reviews, they're paying people, these are,
Yeah.
it's just not going to end well. What we do, encourage you to do is to find those residents that would genuinely leave a review. Going back to online renter study and even our new social media study, we asked people, if your management team asked you, would you be willing to leave a positive review? On both surveys, over 65% said yes, I'd be willing to leave a review if they just asked me. The follow-up question was, have you ever been asked? On social media study, less than 11% have been asked. On the online renter study, I think it was less than 13% have been asked. So there's a bulk of residents out there that would really do the heavy lifting for you if they knew how. And they want to help, So being ready with that URL or follow up with an email with your apartment ratings page or wherever you want them to leave your review, you'd be surprised at residents, who would be willing to do that. I just think playing the incentive game is a slippery slope, and it could potentially get you shut down on like Yelp, or get you shut down on apartment ratings even, because it'll violate the policies of that company. Jennifer, anything to add on that one?
No, I just think there, as you said, remember that your residents really do love living there, and the ones that love it are going to genuinely want to share their experience. So, one of the ones, and I mentioned this, I think, last call, is an opportunity to really, again, ask for their experience, or to share their experience, really is just, even after a great resident function. I mean, that's like, they're super happy, they probably got some cookies, or, offered some pizza, or really kind of built some community with some other neighbors. So really, anytime that you have some great experiences and interactions with those residents is a great time to ask them to share their experience. And I think that's the key, is to share their experience, because we want, future renters want to hear the experience as a whole. What is it like to live there, on a day-to-day basis, or what's the feel like? What's their experience that they've had?
And I think if we don't position it like it helps us,
Mm,
that's usually where you get the kind of pushback or the I don't know, it's how does your opinion help other people? Or, it could be someone on your service team. We'd love for you to leave a review and, talk about how great our service techs are, because our corporate office, reads that information, or, reads those reviews. They're now able to say thank you to, on a grander scale. So you have, there's an opportunity to not, ask for reviews in a way that's self-serving. It's more so, this is how your opinion, your experience benefits other people, not us. It's a it does help us, but we don't want to. It in that way.
for
Great
sure.
questions, everybody.
Yeah, fantastic. Awesome. Well, just make sure to note that we did have that upcoming one for next month, so make sure you register if you haven't. Yes, part 3. And we have You Won't Believe the Power of a Resident's Voice. So we know that the resident's voice is powerful in either direction that it chooses to go. So we going to share some great information with you in part 3.
Yes.
And as always, we will have our closing survey for you to fill out, and we appreciate your feedback. And if there's any future topics that you would love for us to cover, please feel free to put those in that number 3 so we can gather up that information.
Yeah, we rack our brains. We want to make sure that we give you relevant topics, but you guys may have, much more insight than we do as to what's happening in your world that we can give you, more info or more support on. So any future topics, please do not hesitate to get creative and help us out. We'd love that.
All right. Well, we appreciate everyone attending for today. We hope everyone had a great time. I sure did. I know Leah did. And we will see you all next month.
All right. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great afternoon.
Thanks.